I could have started this video with any Michael Brecker line, because in this video I want to dig into what and how Michael Brecker practiced to become that good.
I've never been real good on discipline. I hate to say it, you know. I know I'm supposed to stand up here and say, well, practice, 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 discipline, 8 hours a day.
This is taken a bit out of context, but what Michael Brecker is actually saying is that he never had the discipline to practice 8 hours straight. But there's of course much more to it coming throughout the whole video. We're going to talk about how Michael Brecker mentions the metronome in his practice, and how this can help you get amazing timing. How copying other players are great for your inspiration, your harmonic ideas and your execution.
If I have an idea, I try and put it in every key.
That Michael Brecker was a master of the 12 keys, so knowing the 12 keys that all Western music is written in.
Do things in different inversions. I try and get all over the horn.
How Michael Brecker wanted to know all aspects of his instrument, and you should and could do this too. We of course know that Michael Brecker had impeccable timing.
I think the most important thing is time. I don't know the word to use for it, swinging or cooking.
And we know that he trained this much to get where he was. And for Michael Brecker, timing was the most important thing.
I practiced with the metronome. I have at times used the metronome on 2 and 4. I get depressed when I do it because I rush,
And probably like anyone else, Michael Brecker did some practice with the metronome. I believe that the metronome is your little friend. Because it tells you when you are right on top of the beat and when you are playing really nice timing.
I get depressed when I do it because I rush.
And yes, I get depressed too when I rush, but I think this is a very common phenomenon because the metronome tells you exactly what's the right thing to do. Play any scale exercise with the metronome on 2 and 4 and get the fingers really tight. You do not really need to play fast because you're training your muscle memory, and this just takes a lot of time. The speed will come when you play slow. When you're practicing your scales or any other exercise, do not do this without a purpose. Always know musically where you want to use the material you're practicing, else why do you actually practice it? Adding the scales you're working on into a musical form helps you connect the exercise you're training into the music you're playing. You can do it like this. Start by thinking of a musical form you like the blues here. Practice the scales that belongs to the blues, and then slowly add the exercises into the form. Okay, now back to playing with great timing. As you see here, Michael Brecker was very serious about playing with amazing timing. Like this, he's playing amazing drums. So what is timing? The timing is basically how tight your fingers move in the groove on your instrument. How accurately can you actually apply the fingers to the mechanics of your instrument? That's the timing. Try playing any exercise, but increase the time between the metronome beats. You can do this by slowing down the metronome, or you can start playing faster notes, like 16 notes. In this exercise I have the metronome on 1 and 3 playing 16 notes. When getting good at this, start challenging yourself by putting the metronome on 2 and 4, not having a reference point as the first beat.
If I heard a lick that I like, I'd steal it.
Copy, borrow, steal. Yes, you must copy, borrow and steal from other players. After having great timing, this is the most important thing you have to practice. Learn jazz, but learn it from the great players who sound amazing.
Did I learn solos? And the answer is yes. I found it helpful for me to, if I was going to do it, to copy it out myself. And not do it out of a book, because somehow it sank in more.
In the Michael Brecker practice book, which is out now on Share Music, there's a little bit of a Sonny Rollins solo written out from St. Thomas.
I also found it helpful to, once I learned it, to play it along with the record, to figure out how it lays over the rhythm section.
So Michael Brecker would transcribe small parts of solos that he liked. Train the face to learn the notes and the chord connections, but also getting into the sound and the timing of the player. Really learn these lines thoroughly to get them into your own playing. That was what he's saying. Follow these steps and try it with any solo. Find a little line that you must learn because you really like it. Start learning the line, and here you can use a slowdowner to do it. Learn it so well that you can play along with the actual recording. Because you need to know the sound of the player, but you also need to know the sound of the rhythm section, how the line sounds together with the rhythm section. Using this method, not only do you find out what lines connects to which chords, you also find out the timing and the phrasing of the player you are copying. And a bonus thing, when you're copying this player's lines and playing along with the records, you automatically imitate the sound of the player. And I must say, if I can just sound half as good as Sonny Rollins, I'll be completely ecstatic.
If I have have an idea, I try and put it in every key.
Okay, 12 key playing. Why would you go through the trouble of playing 12 keys? The answer is quite easy, because music is written in all 12 keys.
A, B, C, D, F, G.
Not playing all the 12 keys would like being learning half the alphabet. Only knowing some of the keys will cut you off for so much music you can learn and you can enjoy. So here it is. Try when you're playing any exercise, move it into a new key. In the beginning, just start with the keys with less sharps and flats. And this makes it just so much easier to get started, like F major with 1 flat or G major with 1 sharp. Play the keys you can use immediately, like adding them into this blues, the C key or the F key, in the first 2 bars. And later you can always take it into more challenging keys. Here in the 3rd bar I'm using D flat 7, but be careful, you can easily get lost in this, practicing everything in 12 keys that you never use. Make sure that you always have a practical application for the exercise you are practicing. We just went through the different keys.
Like for instance, right now I'm working on the certain kind of relationships of triads. Do things in different inversions. I try and get all over the horn.
Take a small part of an exercise and move it up and down in a couple of keys. In this example of the blues, I took the first line on the C7 and moved it up to the F7, playing exactly the same, but in a new key, moving that little part. So why is moving these small patterns such a good idea to do? Because you get super versatile in all aspects of your playing. Let's start by checking out the possibilities in the key. We need to believe that music is about melody, and this is a great foundation to build your solo on. So if I want to get a little bit outside the chords and moving the melodies into new keys, I can do this. I want to substitute the C7 in the 4th bar to the E flat 7. The E flat 7 is the backdoor dominant to the F7 coming 1 bar later, in bar 5. And a line in bar 3, 4 and 5 of the blues could sound like this. Playing that E flat 7 in the 4th bar of the blues sounds pretty nice, I like it. But the result is that we need to know the E flat 7 exercise, the thirds up the scale. So now we are training the dominant scales in thirds, but moving the scale exercises up in minor thirds. So if we want to take this pattern movement further, I can do this. Playing the C7 and the E flat 7 in the 1st bar, and then moving the pattern up a minor third to the F sharp 7. The F sharp 7 is the tritone dominant leading into the F7 in the 3rd bar. So you can see here that the chords are moving in minor thirds, C7, E flat 7, F sharp 7, resolving into that F7. When you start thinking in these moving patterns, you can get great lines like this, and it sounds really, really hip. If you want help to get these practice tips workable into your playing and into your practice, I really recommend you to check out the lesson manual on Patreon. All the licks and all the exercises are there in all 12 keys. More than 50 pages of inspirational material. Remember to check it all in Patreon, the link is in the description. It's all about music practicing and playing, and these 3 giants understand how to practice musically. Check out this video inspired by the music of John Coltrane, Michael Brecker and Chris Potter. Play music, have fun.